Hey, all, and welcome to this week's episode of the Shut Up, Get Up podcast. I'm your host, Mike Muldoon, and thanks for joining me again. Love having you. Glad you're with me. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about self-awareness, which in short means the ability to understand your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and how they affect yourself as well as others. I mean, after all, I read somewhere that when two people meet, it's actually six people meeting. Now, I don't mean it's actually six people meeting because it's just the only two people there. But what I mean by that, out of those two people, you have the person, the way they see themselves, the person, the way they are, and the person as the other person sees them. The thing about self-awareness is it's really a look about who we really are. And to get to that point, it can be really uncomfortable for some people. I mean, we have to face the facts about ourselves. We have to dig really deep. And to be honest with you, self-awareness is not something like you just go home one night and you're like, you know what, tomorrow I'm just going to be more self-aware. Or, you know what, over the weekend, I'm going to become more self-aware. It's not how it works. See, the thing about becoming self-aware, it's not something that happens overnight. It could take months. It could take years. For some, it could be a lifelong process. I think about my own self-awareness and where I was and where I am and how, sort of my thoughts and my emotions and my behaviors and how they were in my 20s and 30s and how vastly different they are now. And a lot of that comes from working on myself. I've talked about this in the past. There's a lot of things that I did, started with some reading and then really getting more behind, how I was being affected by certain things and how my behaviors were being driven by certain things. And as I'll talk about in a little bit, some of it was just insecurity. But the thing about it, and self-awareness, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's so important to you. And some of the ways you can really start, working on your self-awareness is just pay attention to those thoughts and those emotions. As I've talked about in a previous episode called Tears, every thought is an emotion, and every emotion drives an action, and every action drives a result, right? So if you think about something, you immediately have an emotion, you have an action, and then there is a result. Sometimes it happens quickly, thought, you're angry, your emotion is angrier, your action is you smack your hand on the table, and the result is you broke your hand, right? Thought, I'm hungry, emotion, that sounds great. Your action, you open up the fridge, your result, you're eating ice cream, all right? So, paying attention to your thoughts and emotions. How do you feel throughout the day? As well as like how you're feeling, but think about the thoughts that you're having while it's going on, all right? Because every emotion is predicated by a thought. Some ways that you can really work in your self-awareness is, practice that mindfulness. I know I talk meditation. Now, I'm not saying you got to lock yourself up in a room for the next 24 hours, even an hour, but just try to bring yourself to the present moment, right? Because mindfulness really is just understanding the present moment without judgment, right? Just focusing on the here and now and becoming more aware of your thoughts and your feelings and these sensations. Another key to really understanding self-awareness is really understanding what are your values and beliefs? Like what's important to you? What do you believe in? A lot of times people, you say you have any values and beliefs and I go, yeah, but they can't really tell you what they are. They're not very specific. To become really self-aware, you got to understand what your values or beliefs are because again, they are going to drive you. They're going to be the driving forces behind you. And this is going to help you understand why you behave in certain ways and what motivates you. Now, if you're somebody whose beliefs are very much rooted in sort of religion and somebody comes across from you who's vastly different, that is going to drive you. That might motivate you to anger. That might motivate you to frustration. That might motivate some people to violence. but it's a motivating factor. Now, if you know that about yourself, then there's a pretty good chance if you're more self-aware how you're driven by things, you're going to be more conscious aware of the fact, well, this person just has a vastly different opinion of me, and it's okay. I'm not going to react to that. I'm going to be more self-aware about why I'm being driven to do what I'm doing here. Another key is just look at your past experiences. For me, that's something I always go back on, how they've shaped you. What have you learned from your past experiences, and what is different for me? So I mentioned earlier, for me, it was insecurity. I can admit that. I masked my insecurity with overmasculization. When I look back now, the way I handled relationships, I was insecure. I didn't believe in me. I guess in some part, maybe I didn't feel like I was worth it. There were times in relationships, I'm sure I came across needy. I put a lot of emphasis on the person, and it took me a long time to see that and fix it and to eventually be comfortable with me being me. And it's good that I did that because I probably would have never met my wife. But I can look back and I can see that I'm more aware of who I was and what was driving me then. And it's helped me change my life to more of a point where I'm just very, very comfortable in who I am, very, very comfortable in my skin. And if you don't know where to start, trying to figure out how do I get more self-aware about who I am? Oh, this is a crazy one, but you do it. Seek feedback from others. Ask the friends you trust. Ask your family members, your colleagues. Hey, tell me about me. What do you see me? Who am I to you? Do I have any strengths? Do I have any weaknesses? What am I missing? Do I have any blind spots? Their perspective will be a really good indication, and not the ultimate indication of who you are, but it'll be a really good indication, at least a good place to start. Again, to understand that you're seeing yourself as one way, right? But realistically, you're another way. You might say to yourself, well, I'm very open-minded, but yet people are like, well, no, you're not. You pretty much shut down anything people say. So again, there's that perception of people, that person we want people to see, and there's that person we really are. And the key is to understand the person we really are, because then that will help us make better decisions. But again, self-awareness is going to cost you change. Oh, it's going to be challenging at times, but it's going to help you grow. It's going to help you develop it. You've got to be willing to change beliefs, behaviors, assumptions. Again, if you're somebody who was really anti a certain group of people, you might become more self-aware of that. You might become more understanding of those people, and you might become more empathetic. You might have to change some of your assumptions, some of your beliefs in people on your way to having better self-awareness. So, Michael, why do I want to be self-aware? Ignorance is bliss. Better lives. Better lives. See, the thing is, when you're more self-aware, you're going to make better decisions. When you understand what drives you, your beliefs and your motivations and your values and all that, and they're more aligned with your goals, you're going to get to where you want to get faster. And your personal life and your professional life are going to feel more fulfilled. You're going to be a better communicator. You're going to be able to communicate more clearly and effectively with others. You're going to be able to identify your own communication style. See, sometimes people don't even realize what their communication style is. People think it's one way. I'm an effective communicator. You realize, no, you're not. You're someone who just yells. You don't even talk with people. You talk at people. And you're going to learn to build these stronger relationships. You're going to learn to, resolve conflicts more effectively. If you want, you're going to be a better leader. I'm not saying everybody here who becomes self-aware wants to be a leader, but it's going to help you navigate the world. Self-awareness is also a key component of your emotional intelligence. It's the ability to identify and manage those emotions, as we talked about earlier. Your emotions are your drivers, your thoughts, your emotions. Your emotions drive that action. That action is going to drive the result. So when you understand how you are being motivated through things, it's going to help you make, again, better decisions to get you to better results. You've got increased resilience. Now, self-awareness can help you identify your strengths and your weaknesses and basically develop strategies for coping with the stress and adversity you might overcome it. So, for me, I'm okay with people. I'm okay being out in front of people, talking to people. I'm not scared of groups. I don't, there's a time in my life I used to get on stage, theater, comedy. I'm not opposed to public speaking. You could put me up pretty much anywhere and I can talk and I'm fine with it. But let's just say you're somebody who's not good with it. And if you know that, if you're aware of the fact that I'm just not very good with this, then you might work on something that's going to sort of help you get through that situation. You might realize, well, I'm a better writer if I script it all out. If I have it in front of me, it's going to be easy for me. See, I know my weakness. It's not public speaking, but I know my strength. I'm a good writer. I'm a good structure person. I know how to put things together. So what happens is by understanding your weakness and knowing your strengths, it's going to help you overcome sort of any adversity like that you might find in your lives. I know it's just a simple example there, but that's what I'm talking about. See, again, most people operate on subconscious program. They don't even know why they're operating. They don't know why they do what they do. They're just kind of reactive all the time. Thoughts are all over the places, emotions are all over the place, and actions are all over the places, and the results are all over the place. So the thing is, by just having a little bit of self-awareness, or, as much as you can possibly get on it, you're going to be able to see yourselves clearly. You're going to present better to the world. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to make better decisions. Your relationships are going to be better. Your communication with everybody is going to be better. You know what? And ultimately, with that self-awareness, what you're really going to get, and is what took me so long to get myself, was that self-acceptance where you know what? You like you. You're not trying to appease others. You're not trying to hammer home your point to others. My wife often says that I'm pretty good with people because I'm pretty just open to what people have to say. I'm rarely ever argumentative. It doesn't mean I'm agreeable. I mean, I hear some horrendous stuff. I see as people say dumb things. Let's be honest. And okay, that sounds great. You can have your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, and I will just kind of let it go. I'm not a super confrontational guy. I don't just lash out at somebody when they say something. Most of the time I look at people and I think, I don't think they really thought that through. But it's okay because everybody's entitled to opinion. I'm good with it. If that's what makes you happy, if that's when I'm good with it. Now, there was a time in my life where I probably would have. But as I've gotten more accepting of myself and understand my triggers and my behaviors and becoming more controlled with them, it's just made my life easier, more comfortable. I've settled in better. So self-awareness. If you don't have any, it's time to get started. And if you're struggling with some facets in your life, you might want to just start here. Because how many of us have seen people who, if you ask them to describe themselves, will give you something that is so far one way, and realistically, they're so far another way. And that's that disconnect. Anyway, guys, that's it for this evening. I just want to say thank you again, as always. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for reaching out. Again, you can always go to my website, MikeMuldoonLC.com. If you want a little bit of coaching there. For me, my coaching is pretty practical. You can also sign up for just a free taster session. And what I mean by that is just a session for you and I to get to know each other. Sometimes in that session, you can probably solve a lot of your challenges that you might be having, little things that you want to overcome. And you can always check for me on Mike Muldoon LC on my Facebook as well as my Instagram. I'm trying hard to keep up there. Here's a little self-awareness for you. I'm just not good at staying on top of social media. I'm just not good at it. So anyway, as always, I wish you the best. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your weekend. And I got nothing but love for you. Get up.